What a hot mess. What a dumpster fire that is the Sussex's brand. I mean, they are in serious trouble.
Apparently, Netflix executives were said to be disappointed with the amount of output that they gave. Basically, nothing. And there's a huge revolt from Netflix senior staff.
This story is seismic for the Sussexes. The Sussexes are burning through money, and there is no foreseeable solid income going forward. This is like the beginning of the end.
People aren't watching. People don't care about Meghan Markle's as of a brand.
The value they had was in relation to their royal connections. And let's not forget that Spotify described Harry's ideas as embarrassing, and they also called him an effing grifter. He will be kicking himself now. He's been taken in, right? He's been conned by Meghan.
But before we speculate on that, I got an exclusive for you on this myself.
Well, this is a huge scoop for you in the Express. This is massive, and that's going to make global headlines in itself.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Daily Expresso. Today, I'm joined by Mark Dolan, the excellence of execution, for a royal special. Marky Mark, hello.
So good to see you, JJ.
Me
and
too.
Oh my goodness, what a hot mess. What a dumpster fire that is the Sussex's brand. I mean, they are in serious trouble.
Yes. Let's start with this expose from Variety. We'd already spoken this week about Netflix and Meghan parting ways.
Yep.
But Variety done a huge expose. Archwell Productions. I actually forget that they even had Archwell Productions because they've basically produced Sweet FA.
Correct.
But apparently Netflix executives were said to be disappointed with the amount of output that they gave. Basically nothing. And top dog Ted Sarandos has also unfollowed Meghan Markle and her brand as ever on Instagram. And there's a huge revolt from Netflix senior staff.
This is devastating. This story is seismic for the Sussexes because the elements involved are economic, right? Financial. The Sussexes are burning through money, and there is no foreseeable solid income going forward. It's reputational, it's image-wise, and it's about Hollywood. So one of the most damaging aspects of this story is the fact that it's Variety magazine. Now, Variety magazine is a very fluffy brand, and it's normally there to say how beautiful Julia Roberts is and what a great actor Gwyneth Paltrow is. It's just a kind of PR machine, and it normally paints a positive picture about the key players in Hollywood. It's a trade mag. It's not proper journalism. And yet this entertainment Bible of the US has decided to take Meghan Markle down. And it means that her career in Hollywood and in the world of entertainment is over. I mean, there were awful headlines around the time of Kris Jenner's party when Meghan turned up, and it was Remembrance Weekend, and that was a scandal because they'd had photos removed. They were photographed at the party. Then Meghan reportedly tells the Kardashians, take those photos down. So that was a negative story, and that hurt Meghan in the entertainment sphere. But this is like the beginning of the end. If you lose Variety, that's it. It's influential. It's read by all of the kingmakers, the studios, the directors, fellow performers. She'll be humiliated by this. She'll be horrified that the trade magazine of the US entertainment industry has decided to do a hit job on her. And my goodness, if you look at some of the details, you mentioned Ted Sarandos. Now, he's the guy. He was her lifeline.
Yes.
Ted Sarandos, who's the boss of Netflix and a genius guy, responsible for the enormous growth of this streaming giant. The company's worth now tens of billions of dollars. And it was really his goodwill that was keeping Meghan paid and keeping her on TV. And it looks, based upon this Variety story, that he's pulled the plug. The quote from the article, and by the way, Variety, it might be a kind of lightweight, fluffy magazine, but they do have proper journalists. They wouldn't go to press against the famously litigious Sussexes if they didn't have the ammo. And the quote regarding Ted Sarandos, fed up with the pair. Also, the allegation denied by the Sussexes that Sarandos has refused to take a call with Meghan unless, and I quote, a lawyer is present on the line. So not only is a picture emerging of Ted Sarandos washing his hands of the couple and understanding and taking the view that Meghan is now creatively shot and of no use to him and his brand. It's not just that. There's no trust there. He won't have a conversation without lawyers nearby. It's a true low point for the couple, and in particular, it's devastating for Meghan, because where does she go from here?
Amazon Prime, Bezos has got a few quid. Maybe they're going to go there. But before we speculate on that,
Well, yeah.
I got an exclusive for you on this myself. I've spoken to many people over at Netflix in America, not just Europe and Middle East, but in America. I've been told by them that it was only Ted Sarandos who wanted to sign Harry and Meghan initially.
Bingo.
It was only he who wanted to give them this bumper 100 million deal. Also, the structure works in Netflix as Reed. What's his name? Reed Hastings. He's the founder. He doesn't play a huge role anymore in the day-to-day operations, but he's the founder. Then you've got Ted Sarandos. Then below Sarandos, you've got about 10 different chiefs.
Yeah.
Chief of this, chief of that, chief of content, chief of communications, chief of technology, blah blah. All of those people said to Sarandos, "This is not a good investment. We should not be giving 100 million quid
Wow.
to Meghan and Harry."
So Sarandos was warned in advance. Don't do this deal.
But he's the top dog, and he said, "No, this is going to be great." And they released a documentary, Harry and Meghan, and it was super successful, right?
Sure.
The most watched documentary on Netflix ever. And Sarandos is thinking, "See, this is why I'm the boss. I told all you people it's going to be great." And then every project after that has been pitiful. It's been pitiful. People aren't watching. People don't care about Meghan Markle's as a brand. People don't care about her cooking shows with her rich Hollywood mates.
Correct.
So Netflix, the senior staff, none of them wanted this to happen, but Sarandos pushed ahead regardless. And now he has egg on his face. I'm happy he's at least woken up to this and has now pulled the plug officially. But he was warned, and he went ahead with it regardless.
Well, this is a huge scoop for you in the Express. This is massive, and that's going to make global headlines in itself, that Sarandos was warned, don't work with this woman. And that's when her stock price was at its highest, because we've had Megxit. She's become one of the most famous and infamous women in the world. You've still got Harry, who at the time was, broadly speaking, quite a popular figure and was the grandson of the then living Queen Elizabeth. So they had cachet. And they had a certain value PR-wise. And yet even then insiders were saying, don't do it. They've been proved right. And far be it from me to speak ill of Mr. Sarandos, but that is a rare strategic misstep on his part. And the reason why is because the value they had was in relation to their royal connections.
Absolutely.
It was the pedigree. It was the fact that Harry's father is Charles and Harry's mother was Diana. And beyond the royal story and dishing the dirt on the family, there's nothing else, because Harry's not the brightest tool in the box. He's no entrepreneur. He's not a compelling broadcaster. And let's not forget that Spotify described Harry's ideas as embarrassing. And they also called him an effing grifter. I won't say the words because the Daily Expresso is a family show. And let me tell you, bring the kids in, they might learn something. Right? This is vitamins for the brain. But so you've got that, the fact that Sarandos, and he will be kicking himself now. And I think what's happened to this great man, a very intelligent man, I've heard he's a great guy as well, and his staff love him, but he's been taken in, right? He's been conned by Meghan. It's like a con trick. And she is a really, really manipulative and clever person. And I think, I'm afraid to say, perhaps to a lesser extent, but she's done to the boss of Netflix what she did to Harry, which is she's taken him in. She's cast her spell. She's like the snake in the Jungle Book, right? With the twirly whirly eyes. That is Meghan. And he'll be kicking himself because, they are now definitely, they'll have made some money from the original Harry and Meghan documentary, in which she mocked Queen Elizabeth, and there were various other allegations. But here's the other reason why Sarandos is absolutely furious today and why he's got buyer's regret. When they agreed to hand over $100 million to the couple, there was the presumption that we kind of own the IP now, the intellectual property on the Sussex brand. Well, what this Variety story suggests, which backs up very much your scoop, is that Sarandos is thinking, well, wait a minute, why then did they give the juiciest stories and the biggest headlines to Oprah Winfrey on a separate network? And why, when we've written a check for $100 million, are all the best bits from Harry's story in the book spare? So they didn't even get their pound of flesh for that $100 million in relation to the royal backstory. So that means that the couple aren't viable going forward. No other network will trust them going forward.
Yeah.
Because you know how it is. If you work for a big company and they pay you a lot of money, there's an unspoken agreement that we kind of own you.
Yeah.
Right? You're a massive figure at the Express and the Daily Expresso, and therefore this is it's your paymasters, if we're honest.
Yeah.
But it's also just loyalty. Mm-hmm. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. The problem you got with Harry and Meghan, you can't do business with those two.
No.
Right? They're not trustworthy.
Maybe one of them is less trustworthy than the other.
Yeah.
But I'm also told in a separate scoop that Netflix were holding out, thinking if they split, if they get divorced, we're going to be right there with our cameras.
Well, I think that was the hope. And I think that's another great scoop. And it wouldn't surprise me if Sarandos was playing the long game and he said, yeah, we've taken a bath on With Love Meghan, and we've taken a bath on that book that we optioned for $3 million that 3 years on still doesn't have a director or a cast attached. And we've taken a bath on all of Harry's terrible ideas. I've got an idea. We did a documentary about polo, people on horses with a mallet. It's really exciting, It's basically cricket on a horse. It's horse cricket, yeah? Now, that show was watched by 57 people. The numbers are in. It was so boring. In fact, I used to be, I took a lot of Prozac back in the day. And now I slam on polo and it settles me right down. But no, this is really, really fascinating, and the numbers wise, it's. But I think now, even Meghan trying to pitch a deal, post divorce, Meghan my story. I think even that's going to be a hard sell at this point.
Yeah, I think so. And look, I hope they don't get divorced. I hope they stay together, families together.
Why is that?
Because despite what everyone says, I do think they're happy together. I do. I think Harry is happy with Meghan Markle.
Have you gone woke?
I've not gone woke.
What's happened is you've been struck by the Meghan mind virus, which unfortunately old Big Ted Sarandos and that fool Prince Harry got totally. And now there you know what it is? It's snaky eyes, isn't it?
She charms me.
Oh, JJ, I'm Meghan Markle. Nice to meet you.
But speaking of the Meghan mind virus, I do think there's an element of that with people. I think anyone who at this point already dislikes Meghan Markle is never going to change their mind about her. Yeah. In the same way that we have it with Trump. People who dislike Trump, never going to change their mind about Trump. Trump derangement syndrome, Meghan derangement syndrome. Meghan Markle, front page tomorrow on the Express. Meghan Markle solves world hunger. And everyone's going to be like, well, but did she solve it? And what's in it for her?
Yeah.
People dislike her, going to count disliking her.
Well, yeah. The problem is that she claims to have solved world hunger because she sent a bunch of flour sprinkles to Ethiopia. I mean, that's the last thing these people need. I'm not even sure you're supposed to eat flowers. Are they safe? I mean, do me a favour. And that Napa Valley wine, I wouldn't wash my Prius with that stuff. No. Your Prius is tight, it's interesting though, but on a serious note, that you feel that they're happy, and I appreciate. You're somebody. You've got like a moral universe about you. You're a good person. You're ethical, and you're thinking that you don't want to split a family up. There's kids involved, and I share that concern. Actually, the priority in any marriage is the kids. Always. Archie and Lily. It's not their fault who their parents are, and may God bless them. But it's my view. I go the other way because, as you know, there's another story bubbling along today. So much to go at today, which is this particular story that suggests that Harry's been advised. Drop Meghan, right, from your public profile. Yeah. That this woman is bad news, that she's toxic, that she's seen as a grifter, and that any damage, right, any damage to the Sussex brand seems to be being blamed on Meghan, whereby they see, I think a lot of the public and maybe the industry see Harry as a bystander of Meghan's activities, and that she maybe drove, Megxit, that she was like, well, of course, that came from Tom Bower's original book, which was called Revenge. And very much the theme of that book is that Meghan was responsible for Harry's departure from the UK and that she drove that. But this idea now, Harry's being told, if you're going to have a future, if you're going to have an income, you've got to ditch Meghan, and you can maybe rebrand yourself as a humanitarian and philanthropist, all of that, and tap into the old Harry that was very popular, who likes a beer and he's down to earth and he's a bit of fun. Military credentials, of course, one of the boys, and that could be the Harry brand. I mean, what you're talking about, it's Harry 2.1, isn't it? Or 2.0. No, what's the first? It was basically, go back to.
Well, this thing with Harry, right? If we all remember him as being, he's just a relatable guy who likes to drink beer and chase girls. This is also Harry that used to wear a Nazi suit as a costume to Halloween parties, right?
Yeah.
This is Harry who used a racial slur against one of his army pals.
It's true.
And he thought it was okay because he's so privileged and out of touch with
true.
the real world. He thought that was fine. We've all forgotten these things, and suddenly it's, no, Meghan's terrible. Meghan made him do it. Harry's not some saint.
I'm going to actually agree with you massively on this, because I'm no fan of Meghan, but there is an extent to which she's blamed for everything. And in fact, Harry is old enough and ugly enough to, look after himself and be responsible for the decisions he's made.
Yeah.
And he was not 12 or 13 years old. He was a grown man. Who decided to marry Meghan Markle, was advised by people like William, slow the heck down. Even that idiot Prince Andrew, I've got so many girlfriends. Even that fool warned Harry, check her out. Yeah. Do your due diligence. So, and that is maybe a note of agreement between us on Meghan, that actually you have to apportion 50-50 blame. Because he's a grown man and he's an adult. And I do think it's the worst thing that happened to him. In terms of divorce, well, the story we're covering today is a professional divorce is recommended, right? Forget Sussex's, your Harry. It's the original Harry. Let's go back to that. That's fine. But I think that the wheel comes full circle with the divorce certificate. Because what I think happens then, I think everything that was bad about Harry's life, having married Meghan, becomes good again. Because then you have a narrative. She made me do it. I was trapped. She's controlling. She's a narcissist. She's manipulative. Yeah. And, nothing to do with me, Gov. At which point the British public will start to think, okay, well, we all make mistakes. And he can even go to his own family, go to his father and say, here's the divorce certificate and I'm really sorry. And I think that is the path for Harry. That is the path. I'd argue divorce is his only hope.
No, he's got to win the American Super Bowl lottery, 155 million this week. He wins that, they're sweet for at least another 2 years.
Can I just say that I've bought 3 tickets to the Super Bowl lottery. If I win it, you can go fuck yourself. I won't be coming back into this shithole ever again. I don't like your team. They're lazy and not that talented.
Now that I have to agree with you on.
You're a genius, but I just don't need the money anymore.
Now, going back to Netflix and Harry and Meghan, they're all saying, no, everything's fine. Like, Harry and Meghan are saying all this portrayal is categorically false.
Yes.
Netflix are saying, don't believe everything you read. But I don't think we're going to find out the real truth from Netflix people, from the officially on record, until those people have quit and left Netflix.
100%, and they've retired and they write their memoirs, and the truth will come out. And that is why your scoop is going to be an evergreen, I've got to say, because we've got this rather lackluster response from Netflix saying, that these things aren't true. But it wasn't a very fulsome denial.
It wasn't.
It wasn't fulsome. And therefore that bears out, that stands up your story that Sir Randos was warned and ignored his colleagues. The other interesting thing is that they brought this guy in, Harry and Meghan, Michael J. Kump, the Kumpmeister, the K-Dog, Special K. And old Kumpy Dumpy sat on the wall, right? This legend, right? What a cump, honestly. That's what I thought when I saw him. Saw a photograph of this guy. Not for me. By the way, do you think it's a wise idea mocking rich American lawyers? Maybe not. I might need to win that Super Bowl money.
Don't worry. Because Expresso have got you.
Is that it? Kump versus Dolan. Anyway, this guy, Michael J. Kump, is an attorney acting on behalf of the the Sussexes. And, it's such a hysterical denial. It's so angry, absolutely inaccurate, blatantly false. They've talked about how Sarandos has hung out with Meghan, been to her home without lawyers, because going back to the allegation that Sarandos would have to have a lawyer on the line. I think that Shakespearean line, they protest too much.
Yes.
Very similarly to when Tom Bower's new book came out. And it was my understanding that Harry pretty much wrote that angry statement, calling it deluded and a conspiracy theory. And I will say that statement was just as angry and deranged as I consider Harry to be at the moment. I don't think he's of sound mind. And but yeah, so no, it's massive, and all roads lead to certainly financial pressure. Yeah. They have a bunch of millions in the bank, but for the likes of Harry and Meghan, given their outgoings, you've got to have money coming in. And they're relatively young people. They're in their early 40s. And so they've got 4 decades of high living. That ain't going to come cheap. And whether it's 50 or 60 or $70 million in the bank, that'll go pretty quick.
Yeah, I agree. Well, this is the Royal Special bumper special. So let's talk about another royal. Probably my favourite royal, actually, of today, King Charles.
Yeah, God bless him.
Yeah, what a king. Good guy. Wonderful guy.
Wonderful. Good friend of mine. Probably the best king ever. Best king in the history of the world.
So he's under fire now for hosting the Nigerian president. President Bola Tinubu. I'm of Nigerian descent. What my family have told me about this dude, what I've learned from my father about him, is that he's a drug lord. He's corrupt. He's been accused of election rigging, which is almost par for the course for so many Nigerian presidents of the past. And Nigeria's under attack from Islamic terrorism.
Yeah.
Christians
are being killed, aren't they?
Christians are being killed.
And the thing is, Nigeria is a magnificent country, right? Incredible people,
yeah,
incredible landscape, and so much potential as a country if only it was properly run.
Yeah, so much wealth in our natural.
It has been, historically, it has been one of the richest African nations, hasn't it?
Yeah, the richest. We've got more oil than anyone else in Africa.
Wow.
But too much corruption at the highest levels. So should King Charles be hosting a man like this? Because this is what people are saying, that why is Charles doing this? This is ridiculous. I mean, he did one good thing, Charles. He did, for the first time ever, address the jollof rice wars and finally conceded that Nigerian jollof rice is the best.
Oh, well, that's number one, right? Is it stickier? What's the deal with it?
It just tastes better than anything
Flavour.
else. Yeah. So, Ghanaians. Yeah.
Put your back in your box.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Know your place.
But yeah, he's Charles is being slammed for this by some people. I don't think he has a real say in these things. He's there to wine and dine people, world leaders. He shouldn't be up and saying, no, I'm not gonna have this person. This person's morally bad. I mean, yeah, and that's a whole other argument about the royal family and their history and things they did.
Correct.
Yeah, the money they benefited from slavery.
Sure, and blood on their hands.
Yeah, precisely. So where do you stand on that, though?
I think you're right. I think that it's not up to King Charles to make a moral judgment about another world leader. He's head of state, and this president, the current president, is the head of state of Nigeria. And we want to be on friendly and good terms with that great nation, notwithstanding its awful governance at the moment. And, does he then not meet the Sheikh of Ajman, who runs the United Arab Emirates?
Yeah.
Does he not meet President Xi of China, who unfortunately are rather significant influence on our economy now? And we couldn't really function without Chinese investment.
Yeah.
Plus, they make all the stuff that we consume every day.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line with that? And then, of course, what you'll have is the crazy woke progressives. If you set that precedent with the president of Nigeria, well, then Donald Trump doesn't get a look in.
That's right.
And it's the slippery slope. And what you're supposed to do with someone like King Charles, with the monarch, is rise above politics. And it really doesn't matter who the head of state is, you meet them. I mean, I honestly don't know where the line is. Kim Jong-un, he's the leader of the most awful totalitarian regime, North Korea. But I don't know, if Charles were to have tea with him, does that improve like Western relations? Don't forget Trump's first term. It was a patchy record, Trump's first term.
Yeah.
But one of the positives of his first term was his efforts to engage with Kim Jong-un. And he was the first US president I think ever, or certainly for a long time, to cross into North Korean soil.
Yeah.
You got to hand it to Trump at the time for trying to bridge that gap. And if that's something our king can do with any leader, I'm all for it.
I think one leader I'd say Charles has to draw the line with is probably the mayor of Luton. Place to dump.
While we mention that, Sadiq as well, Sir Sadiq Khan, stripper of the knighthood. By the way, it's interesting you mentioned the Nigerian president's a drug lord, and he's just like, should a member of the royal family be? I think maybe send Harry, because they may have done business in the past. Harry might have been his best customer. Oh, can I get a few more mind-altering substances? You know? I won't mention it in the visa, yeah?
Marky Mark, that's a wrap, my man.
Are you talking about Harry and Meghan's career?
Oh, ouch. Ending on a hit.
You know what, though?
Wow.
The great irony, right? Don't bite the hand that feeds you. We need another deal to happen so we can keep talking about them. Otherwise, you and I would be on the streets.
Not me, mate. Not me.
Please, Meghan, get back to work.
Someone's going to have to hire her. Right, thank you for watching this very special edition of the Daily Expresso, the Royal Edition. Leave your comments, subscribe, like, share, and if you've still got it, hit the hype button. Bye-bye.